This is the AOC Sports High School Football Preview Show.
Week 7 of Friday Night Rivals here on UTV 44. Jim Cox and Dan Brennan getting ready for our matchup tonight. And before we talk about Saraland and Spanish, we kind of actually added more to the strangeness. Week 7 will be the first time we've seen the Toros this year. Usually we see the Toros much earlier in the season and multiple times, but because of the way the schedule has kind of fallen this year, we'll see them for the first time tonight.
Yeah, considering everything that's happening in Baldwin County, we're lucky to see them at all, you know, with the devastation over there after Sally.
Last week we looked back and we were, we were wondering were we going to get the game in, depending on everything post Sally. But we did, and we saw UMS again. We saw UMS, a team that continues to improve, is what it looks like. But we also, it's kind of a treat seeing a TR Miller team that we don't get a chance to see very often up from north of here. That's going to be a team to really cause a lot of problems come playoff time in 3A.
Yeah, you just can't imagine there's a lot of 3A teams that are going to be as coached as well, and maybe even have the number of really good football players that TR Miller does. That was our impression anyway. We don't know, I can't comb this state from border to border and tell you every 3A team, but I'd have to say that they've got to be one of the best.
Yeah, they were, and Coach Curtis talked about it in the postgame show and said, you saw how many guys were playing both ways and the great game they had. But UMS, they're kind of starting to look more and more UMS-like as well.
Yeah, and a lot of that has got to do with getting people in the right place. These coaches have really they've been saddled big time with COVID for a number of reasons, including the things that you would get done in the spring and the summer. Well, they weren't getting those things done. And a lot of that is player evaluation. We then have the pieces in the right places as we kick off in August, and that just wasn't the case. What else is new in 2020?
All right, as we start the show, we always have one of our surgeons on from AOC with us, Dr. Clayton Lane, back with us here again this week. And an injury you'd never want to hear if you're a sports fan, and if Saints are dealing with it right now. Michael Thomas, high ankle sprain. I mean, that's a bad three-word phrase for an athlete, isn't it?
It is. It is. A high ankle sprain is a little bit different than your traditional ankle sprain. Basically, when you think about an ankle sprain, what we're really talking about in general is the ligaments lower that connect the leg to the foot when they tear. That's your traditional ankle sprain. The high ankle sprain, the way it differs is you actually have torn the ligaments in the leg between the tibia and the fibula. So depending on the grade of injury, that ligament tear can go all the way up the leg to the knee. And that's the name.
Yeah, and it can be kind of a lengthy recovery process too. It seems like it takes longer to come back from that than a traditional ankle sprain.
Absolutely. The reason you hear so much about it is because a high ankle sprain takes about 2 times as long to get back from as a regular ankle sprain. And it also is a little bit more prone to having longer-term complications and issues. And finally, you're more likely to have surgery with a high ankle injury. So,
of course, Alabama fans know all about high ankle sprains with a former quarterback by the name of Tua that they had who dealt with that. But was there like some pioneering surgery or some new type of surgery? Because it was just really, it kind of just blew up. I remember when he had that injury last year.
And it was amazing. It's kind of amazing how some of these media blitzes get going. I was kind of shocked by why it was such a big deal. It's actually a pretty old procedure. 20 years ago, the only way to fix the ankle, if you tore the ligament between the tibia and the fibula, the only way to treat that was to put 2 big metal screws across there. Not great. It was rigid fixation, didn't allow your ankle to move correctly. And then those athletes had to be non-weight bearing for 6 weeks, 10 weeks. So really not ideal for sports world. So the tightrope device, which was used in Tua, that came out about 10 to 15 years ago. And the sports docs and the foot and ankle docs have been using that. And that's a little bit better because basically we're just recreating the ligament with a synthetic polyethylene type material. So now you have something that's actually flexible and moves more like a normal ankle, and then the athlete can bear weight right away, and as you saw, you can get back to play with Tua much more efficiently.
And I'm guessing just like everything else, I mean, are there exercises you could do to try and strengthen those ligaments on the outside there, or is this really...
It's a tough one. I mean, the way this happens is really hard to avoid. If you picture it like the way it happened in the Saints, basically an offensive lineman pushing really hard, trying to hold up his block, and another player comes in behind and lands on the back of their leg, pushes their leg forward, so essentially their foot gets jammed upwards and out. it's kind of hard to prepare for that. Yeah. So, but that's the type of injury that would cause it.
So don't get engaged with trying to block defensive linemen or anything like that. That's probably the best way to
years in my past
do it. Dr. Lane, thanks for coming by and see us talking about high ankle sprains. Hopefully we're not talking about them during the broadcast tonight. It's a big matchup tonight. We go back to Saraland. Beautiful night for high school football. Saraland and Spanish Fort tonight here on Friday Night Rivals, and we'll talk with Ben Blackman, coach of the Toros, coming up after this. The week of Friday Night Rivals here on UTV 44. Jim Cox and Dan Brennan getting ready to bring you tonight's game from Saraland. The Spartans playing host to the Spanish Fort Toros, and head coach Ben Blackman here with us from the Toros. Jack Myers, offensive lineman. We'll talk all about tonight's matchup. But Coach, we haven't seen you yet, which is, we were saying, just strange scheduling that it's this long. And a lot of coaches always said to us over the years, you know, kids are way more resilient than adults and coaches. They get over losses quicker. They deal with things. But I mean, your schedule has been so crazy, and things have, you know, first of all you had the COVID, then you were able to pick up a game against Park Crossing, then you hurricane. Like, how are y'all dealing with it as coaches? I mean, this is super challenging, right?
We told our kids when we got them back in June, you know, nothing's going to be normal. Everything's going to be, you know, there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some things that happen that we're going to have to adjust, and our kids have done a good job with that. And you know, one thing that we've tried to do as coaches is give all of our kids every opportunity they can, you know, to play a game. I mean, like Jack, this is senior year, and we told him, we said, we may get to play one game, we may not get to play any, we may get to play all of them, you know. But you know, as coaches, so that's how that happened with Park Crossing. And once we had the Gulf Shores COVID, I felt, you know, obliged to our kids to try to find them a game. Mm-hmm. And fortunately on Thursday at about 3 o'clock,
crazy,
we got a call from Park Crossing that they wanted to come play, and so we played them. And hey, you know, it's an opportunity he got to play against, you know, a good defensive team.
I mean, you just never get that week back. If it doesn't happen, the kids just, you never get that. You never get that week back.
That's right. And then, you know, you had the hurricane come through, and it canceled our game with Bay Minette and Baldwin County High School, and so we had to clean up from the storm and then try to regroup and find all our kids and make sure they were taken care of, and then try to reschedule that game. And fortunately, we were able to get that in on Saturday. Yep. And so now that, you know, that was our bye week. So.
Yeah, and things have been so tough there. I saw the news story that the bus drivers of Baldwin County schools did a dry run the day before school opened so they could go along their routes and make sure that there wasn't debris everywhere.
Right.
So you guys have been through an awful lot. How are you and your staff and your players dealing with not just COVID, but the hurricane?
We're doing good. You know, we have some, like you said, resilient kids, but we have some very servant leaders, and Jack being one of them. And there's several of them on our team that we sent out a mass text and said, hey, can anybody show up and go help this, you know, Army vet, you know, down in Orange Beach, clean up his yard. And we had several kids jump in their car and go to Orange Beach, and we cleaned up a yard, you know, for a 95-year-old World War II vet, because at that point in time, that was more important than football. Sure. You know, is helping that man. So
pretty cool. Life lessons from football pay it all over the place. So tough schedule coming out. You had a tough schedule, and now y'all are back. That tight game against St. Paul's, Fairhope, kind of starting to look more and more Toro-like as we see each and every week. But I mean, feeling good with the progression of your team now as you're kind of the middle and toward the latter half of the season now?
Yeah, you know, coming out of the summer and our first chance to compete, we played Fairhope, and you know, they got some good talent on their team, and we didn't play well early in that game. We turned the ball over, we got penalties, and you know, we hurt ourselves, and then did the same thing in week 2. But we've progressively gotten better. You know, we played a tough Park Crossing team, who's one of the fastest teams defensively I've ever seen. Wow. You know, they have a lot of speed and size,
but you had a lot of time to prepare for them, so that helps.
Yeah, we had one day. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, it's just, it's been a progression. I think we are getting better, and we're having kids that are getting comfortable in their position who have never played before, and so.
Jack, talk about your senior year. It's been disrupted in every conceivable way, but you're hanging in there, and I saw you nodding when Jim was talking about, you know, you never get that week back, and this is your senior year. You're never going to get this back. This is it. So considering everything, how's it going?
You know, honestly, this is anything I could ask for. I mean, honestly, you know, like you said, you know, we didn't know if we were even going to have a season. So every week, you know, I think God has been blessing us. Have another game, have another game. We get Park Crossing as a game, you know, and now we're in week 6. You know, we're halfway through our, regular season. It's pretty crazy, you know, and then the hurricane hits, and it's, you know, I remember I think 4 or 5 times we go out to help somebody clean up the yard, you know. And that's what it's about. And I think that, you know, I've had a pretty good season. You know, my teammates, I think we're starting to get in a groove. We're starting to feel out our offense, and our defense has really stepped up their game. So, you know, I think we're starting to get in the groove.
Offensive line, always one of the strong points of a Spanish Fort team with all the creativity to do on offense. Could be a good matchup to watch tonight, the offensive line for the Toros going up against the defensive line of the Saraland team. What have you seen from the Spartans as you get ready for this game?
Well, you know, I faced the same guys last year. You know, I think we handled ourselves pretty well last year, and I expect us to do the same. You know, we faced a pretty similar front to them. We've been facing similar fronts to them for the whole season, you know. And, you know, we're just going to go out and do what we do on the football. That's what, you know, that's what Spanish Fort's known for. So.
Yeah, run the football, play really good defense. That seems to have worked pretty well on the Hill.
Check the record.
So as you look at Saraland, got a new quarterback. We got to see him early in the year, and we were like, wow, this kid's really fun to watch. He can sling it around. What have you seen getting ready for this one?
Yeah, I tell you what, he's one of the best I've seen. I mean, he can really throw the football. He can run it. He seems very, very intelligent on what he's doing, and Coach Kelly's wanting to do offensively. And you know, when you have those guys as a play caller, it makes your job a lot easier, you know, when you have that quarterback. So I've really been impressed with him. Defensively, you know, they're long on the corners. You know, they got really good up front and linebackers, and they got a lot of speed on defense. Probably been one of the fastest Saraland teams we've seen defensively. So, you know, it'll be a challenge, and you know, our kids they'll have to step up to the plate and meet that challenge. Offensively, you know, they got weapons at receiver. Their offensive line is is big, obviously. You know, the kid behind me right here, he's a pretty big youngin. So, I mean, they're a really complete Saraland football team, and you know, I wouldn't expect anything else from Coach Kelly. You know, he's going to do a great job.
Yeah, we're probably guilty of it as anybody else because offense is fun to talk about. But I mean, one thing Spanish Sport has always hung like defensively. Y'all's always been very good defensively, and y'all have hung your hat on that. It might sometimes get a little overshadowed by the fun offense and everything else we see over there, but defensively, I know you got to be happy with the way your team's coming along there too.
Yeah, you know, we've really played well in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and you know, gotten back to playing Spanish Fort football, being tough and physical, and playing fast on defense. So, you know, I just hope we continue to progress and get better each week through the season, and you know. Like I said, man, 2020 is just 2020. It is, you know, and so
that used to mean you had good eyesight.
Yeah,
it doesn't anymore.
Exactly.
We're just every week we're the same way, like everybody else. It's like we're happy to get to do a game. Jack, thanks for coming. Be safe out there tonight, Coach. We'll see you in the last segment as well. We'll come back and we'll talk about Saraland's part in tonight's matchup. They're playing host to these Toros, and Jeff Kelly and Colton Beasley, big offensive lineman, will join us coming up right after this. Another week of Friday Night Rivals here on UTV 44. It's going to be a good one. It's why it's the game of the week. Saraland and Spanish Fort, which has grown into a great rivalry. Years. We've been doing it because of 2 great programs.
Yeah, big teams, great programs that have played some really important games through the years, and some of these games that we've had the pleasure of putting on UTV 44, and we've had the chance to call those games, and they've been great.
Yeah, we've got another one of those here tonight. Jeff Kelly, head coach of the Spartans, with us. Colton Beasley, returning offensive lineman, with us here as well. Coach, we saw you earlier in the year, and you kind of talked to Dan, talked to I, and you liked where your team was, liked your quarterback, and I'm just going to guess those feelings haven't changed much heading into this week. You still got to like where you're at.
You know, I do. We got a great group of kids. They love to practice. They love to compete. They go out there and you know, every day, whether it's Monday or Tuesday or Friday night, whatever. They show up ready to go, and you know, it hadn't been perfect. You know, I know we've had a lot of positive kind of things, but we've been working to improve and get things corrected throughout the year. But feel good about where we are, and we know we got a big challenge tonight, and you know, our guys been working to prepare to go to you know, get after it tonight. We'll see what happens.
You know, we've only seen you once this year, but that defense just shut McGill down. It was really impressive, and that night it was hard to pick apart anything about the Saraland team. Like, well, they're not good at this, or they're a little weak here. That whole team looked solid, and one thing that really impressed me too, Coach, was the team speed. You've got some really, not just fast guys, but guys that are good football players who happen to have speed.
You know, it's one week at a time. You know, our defense has really played well throughout the year. Our coaches have done a good job. Brett West, our new first-year defensive coordinator, had some big shoes to fill with Coach Crowley. He's been with us for a long time, but he's got a lot of toys to work with over there. You know, we got, you know, in the secondary, we've got a lot of veteran guys that can really play and really cover, that gives, you know, gives them some ability to go man and zone and do some different things, and got some guys up front on the defensive line that are playing hard right now. And, you know, the linebacker play, we come into the season with really 4 new starters there. And those guys have just been working to get better every week, and really pleased with you know, what they've done so far.
Yeah. We're talking so much about your quarterback, Carson Green, and how impressed we were with him. The quarterbacks get a lot of the attention, but if they're not upright and they don't have a chance to throw the football, they can't do a lot of those things. And you know, the big gentleman here to our left, Colton Beasley, he's a big part of that offensive line and keeping Carson.
He has been. Right?
He's a huge part of it. You know, Colton's been, you know, playing in that spot for 3 years now. He's played in a lot of big ball games. He's done a lot of good things for us. You know, they're really we've you know, had a lot of positive kind of things offensively. Quarterbacks had some big numbers. Amarian's had a big year so far running the football. We've been able to stay balanced, but you know, our work up front has allowed that to happen. They've protected our quarterback really well. I can't think of a sack so far that we've had this year, and you know, hopefully we can keep that going tonight. But you know, guys like Colton and he and his 4 other guys, that they got a good thing going. A lot of great camaraderie, chemistry. They make their calls, and Coach Fancher does a really outstanding job getting those guys ready to play and sort of what to expect week in and week out.
Colton, I'm guessing as a senior, you have a lot of the same feelings maybe Jack was talking about here, about just not knowing what to expect coming into this season, but like, hey, so far pretty good on what you've been able to pull off at Saraland.
Yes, sir. We've faced a lot of adversity this coming up year, and we've just tried to push through it. We have great leaders like Coach Kelly to help us know what we have to do to play the next week.
Senior season at Saraland, at a great football program at a great school. Talk about what this season really means to you and the guys on the line with you.
We've really came together this year. We've had a couple tough opponents and big guys on the opposing lines, and we've handled it really good, and we plan to keep it going.
So talk about Carson when he came in, because Coach talked about it, and new quarterback comes in, but like quickly kind of integrated well, became a leader on the team, and sometimes that's not an easy transition, but just kind of talk about what he's meant, the guy who takes the ball behind you each week.
He's been really good. He's been on fire. We just try to let him have as much time as he can in the pocket, and he's got great vision and knows what to do with the football. And he come in, and he's a great guy. He's really outstanding person, and he keeps our motors going. He really pushes us. Yeah,
you've been great up there. We saw it each and every week, and I know Spanish Fort. I mean, you know, it kind of like Coach was just saying, that you know what you're going to get. I mean, for a big part, you know what you're going to get.
It's 2020, whether it's 2013 or anywhere in between, they're an outstanding program. They're one of the premier programs in the state. They have been year in and year out. It's a big ball game, you know. That they've been a consistent program over the years. We've been fighting to be a consistent program. You know, every time we play, the game means something, and this year's no different. And so we're excited. It's going to be, you know, it's different. You know, I know if we didn't have the COVID kind of things, we would have an absolute packed house, crazy atmosphere, and it'll still be awesome. But you know, this is a big ball game. Coach Blackman will have his guys ready to go. They do a great job. It's what high school football is all about.
We can't wait
Let's
for
tee it up, see it.
We can't wait for kickoff. Colton, thanks for tell your mom I said hi. Tell your mom I said she asked about me. Never. It says work with her forever. She never mentioned me. Come back. We'll wrap it up. Coach Blackman and Coach Kelly will be here for some silly questions as we get ready for tonight's big matchup between Spanish Fort and Saraland here on Friday Night Rivals. We are just about 10 minutes or so away from kickoff here on Friday Night Rivals, Saraland and Spanish Fort. And Coach hasn't got to play the new game yet. It's no longer Brent in, Brent out. It's like it, love it, or steer clear of it.
Basically the same game.
Kind of. So we'll start right here.
Basically.
Black pepper on popcorn.
Stay away from it.
No, never heard of that
Like it.
concept.
Oh, love it. Like I can't
Really?
put enough. I made some last night. Cold pizza.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Like it.
Yeah,
You gotta
I like
heat it up.
I don't love it. I like it. I like it. I'll start right here. Southern Miss, North Texas. The over of 71.5.
Love it.
He's partial.
He's partial.
I could go either way.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I
I
like
like
We give up 66 last week.
That's it. Jared's with us as well. The undefeated Chicago Bears. I'll say it again for the undefeated Chicago Bears getting 2.5 at home against the 48-year-old Phillip Rivers at quarterback. Bears getting 2.5 at home.
I like it.
You went against them last week and
You
lost.
better say undefeated quick.
Oh,
Love it.
love it. Love it. 8-2 on the Bears, just saying that. Just like it. So Auburn, Georgia.
Yeah.
The under of 44.5.
From what I saw last week, yeah, I like that.
I like the under.
I like that.
Like it? Yeah, I like it. Bama, Texas. The over of 51.5.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, love that one as well. All right, and the last one, the Saints laying 4 at Detroit.
Like it.
I like it.
Love it.
I love it. Detroit's awful, just awful. These two teams are not awful. These two teams are great high school football teams. Coming up tonight here on Friday Night Rivals, we're in Saraland and Spanish Fort. Big region matchup. We can't wait for the kickoff, and it comes up in just about 7 minutes right here on UTV 44.